Well, hey there. Welcome to Up with KREM. It's our team, our town, our time. The Zags take on UCLA tomorrow night in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. As we take a live look at Indianapolis this morning, it looks like the skies might be a little bit more clear than they were yesterday when we saw that unexpected snow flurry, but still plenty cold this morning for crews headed out to the big game tomorrow. You can only watch the game, by the way, Gonzaga in their Final Four matchup right here on KREM 2. Tip-off is at 5:34 p.m. We will also have live coverage from Indy following the game. We'll be carrying the post-game press conference as well, and you can catch it on Saturday, as we mentioned, on KREM 2. Our coverage starts at 10 a.m. But our coverage today here on Up with KREM includes a full panel of Gonzaga experts. I'm Joshua Robinson, by the way. Our team coverage includes Jimmy Kimmel's Gonzaga comments that are once again going viral this morning. We'll be checking in with Dana McNichol for more on why everyone's talking about that. Plus, this morning, our sports director, Brenna Green, is live in Indy this morning. Brenna, how's it looking? How's it feeling? How's everybody getting ready for tomorrow?
You know, it's still cold here, but that's just the lot we have in this life in Indianapolis over the last few days. It's colder here than it is in Spokane right now. However, it also was kind of a cold moment here, I guess you could say, when Mark Few didn't win the AP Coach of the Year award yesterday. That went to Michigan's Juwan Howard. Howard did overachieve this year in terms of where he was at the start of the season. Michigan was picked number 25 in the preseason poll and ended up getting a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. However, they did lose in the Elite 8 to UCLA. Howard didn't just win the award, by the way. It was kind of a landslide. He had 35 of a possible 63 votes. Mark Few had 16, and Baylor's Scott Drew and Alabama's Nate Oates each had 5 apiece. A lot of people were caught off guard by this, though, especially since Mark Few is having such a historic season. One person commented and said, "Tough out for Mark Few. I guess he just wasn't undefeated enough." I mean, what are you supposed to do there, I guess? Right now, we have a Twitter poll running of, do you think Mark Few should have won AP Coach of the Year? So far, the results are 94% say yes and 5% say no. So it looks like a lot of people thinking Mark Few should have pulled off that award. If you've watched Gonzaga games over the years, you have assuredly heard Sean Farnham call games on ESPN. He's called a ton of them. Saturday's matchup is a really interesting position for Farnham. Why? Because he went to UCLA, and he also was a member of the school's basketball team.
You have like your real child, and then you adopt like this really cool child, and you're like, you both are great. And then they all of a sudden they're going to fight.
Gonzaga and UCLA will not just fight on Saturday. It's win or go home.
My heart and my love is for the school that I played for 4 years. But the community of Spokane and Gonzaga is the first game I ever called at ESPN was the Zags game. And to call more games, I think, over the last 11 years of the Gonzaga Bulldog program than any other announcer that covers the sport, there's certainly a part of my heart that goes, you know what, I really want to see this continue.
No matter what, the result of Saturday's matchup means there will be a West Coast team in the national championship game. Farnham says Gonzaga has really held down the West Coast in terms of basketball for the last 20 years, but seeing the Pac-12 join the party this tournament has been thrilling.
Being a national media member, I always am like, dude, look at the West Coast. The West Coast has some really good hoop going on. And this NCAA tournament, because of the Pac-12 and how well they performed, and the fact that UCLA's here, is kind of an announcement to the rest of the nation that, by the way, you can watch good hoops west of the Mississippi.
At the end of the day, Farnham is going with his head over his heart in this matchup.
I said this team was going to go undefeated and win a national championship. I'm not backing down from that now because they're playing UCLA.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, we almost had a little malfunction here with the iPad. Yes, Mark Few says that he is, Sean Farnham says that if he were Mick Cronin, he would be following the 2019 WCC championship game closely, studying that tape a lot going into this matchup. Why? The St. Mary's Gales were able to slow Gonzaga down enough that they did not win that game. Now, Sean says that if you're Gonzaga, you really should just keep doing you, and you're probably going to be fine in this matchup. Sean picked the Zags over his alma mater, and now Spokane showing some love back to him in the form of some food, because why not? The Davenport has renamed the menu's spicy shrimp flatbread to the Farnham flatbread in honor of Sean. He brings it up all the time on ESPN. Let me tell you, I've watched a lot of his games, and it's almost to the point where it's like a bingo square. He's going to bring up the spicy shrimp flatbread. What's very cool is that 100% of the proceeds of that flatbread are going to Coaches versus Cancer during this NCAA tournament run.
Was, I think, 11 years ago he had his very first one here in the Safari Room. So he's been a longtime fan of this. And if you've ever followed Sean Farnham on ESPN covering Gonzaga basketball, he never misses a moment of promoting his love for this flatbread. So
Sean told us yesterday that the flatbread right now is selling 3 times more than any other flatbread on the Davenport's menu. That is just super, super awesome. Gonzaga versus UCLA tips off right here on KREM 2 on Saturday at 5:34 p.m. We will be live at 10 a.m. previewing the contest, and we will have the post-game presser in full also on our airwaves. Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Brenna Green, KREM 2 Sports.
Brenna, it is a constant struggle on this show. We talk about this great food all the time here at 6 in the morning. We find ourselves so hungry just to start the day. But hey, you know, if it's going to support the Zags, I think everyone's happy being a little hungry this morning, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Brennan. We'll be checking back in with you throughout the morning here on Up with KREM, but we also want to take a look outside here in Spokane. Let's check in with Thomas Patrick.
I know. I got to turn my attention away from Gonzaga because I'm just looking at all the stats and all their previous games. Okay, back to the other computer, which has all the weather information on it. Pretty benign looking forecast, which is great for us weather-wise as we head into the Easter weekend. Just dropped down to 39 degrees right now. That's still 11 degrees warmer than where Brenna is standing in Indianapolis. Boy, it is cold. It is cold east of the Mississippi this morning. In fact, there are like frost warnings all the way down into Florida, but none of that around here in Washington. 39 right now in Spokane, still 42 in Coeur d'Alene. It's going to be sunny right from the get-go today, and we should have plenty of sunshine to work with today, which should easily push our temperatures into the 60s. We were in the 60s yesterday for the first day of April. We'll make it 2 for 2 there. We'll see how many days we can keep that streak going through the Easter weekend, and when we will have our next chance for rainfall. That's coming up in my forecast in just about 10 minutes.
Here at 6:08 this morning, time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. A former Spokane County Sheriff's deputy is suing the sheriff's office for what he says was harassment after he reported another deputy's racist behavior. Former Deputy Andrew Richmond claims in the lawsuit filed on Tuesday that he faced retaliation, racial discrimination, and constructive discharge. The lawsuit alleged that happened after he said he reported that Sergeant Jeffrey Thurman used a racial slur while talking to another deputy in 2016. Thurman was fired in June of 2019 after an investigation into those allegations. Thurman says he didn't recall making the alleged racial comments. Richmond said in the lawsuit that he quit his job at the sheriff's office in July of 2019 due to the retaliation. Western Washington University is monitoring a surge in coronavirus cases on their campus. The university confirmed 67 positive cases. University representatives say the surge is related to parties and smaller social gatherings during the weeks of March 8th and March 15th. 526 coronavirus cases have been linked to K-12 schools in Washington since August of last year. Now, according to the new report from the Department of Health, most outbreaks have been small. That's about 2 or 3 cases each. Now, there are more than 1.1 million students across the state, and more than 50% are back in school part of the week. The first COVID relief payments will be processed today for Social Security and other federal beneficiaries who did not file 2019 or 2020 tax returns. 4 million payments went out last week. About half should have appeared in bank accounts through direct deposit. The rest were mailed as paper checks or prepaid debit cards. That brings the total number of payments sent out to over 130 million since the relief bill was signed on March 11th. That's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Well, here at 6:10 this morning, coming up, Zags fans are everywhere in Spokane, but the Gonzaga community also stretches thousands of miles. After the break, we talked to 5 Zags superfans living across the country.